Friends, in the last lecture, we have discussed about Renaissance drama. We discussed about late 17th century and 18th century drama. Now, today we are going to talk about drama from 19th century through the turn of the 20th century. And then we will, if there is a time, then we'll talk about drama in early and mid 20th century. And then tomorrow we will talk about contemporary drama. So probably the ages of drama we will finish it tomorrow, and then we will finish this genres of drama, then elements of drama, and in that way we are going to complete the first unit of our paper. Now, what we discussed yesterday, what we talked yesterday, is very vital and interesting. Why I'm saying so that it is vital and interesting? The reason is uh, this writing of drama, what we discussed, is related with English prominently in 16th, 17th, and 18th century. And in the Restoration period, we found that French drama had its influence over English drama. Later on, if you see it very carefully, you will find out that drama, which is very much part of the culture, drama, which is very much part of understanding of human values, it has spread it up, it moved across, and we can come to know about how this drama has changed the overall understanding of a society. Now, if you look at it very carefully, English playwrights during 16th, 17th, and 18th century, English playwrights alone produced more than 30,000 plays during 19th century. How much? 30,000, 30. 30,000 plays during 19th century. And if you ask today to me, sir, what is the condition of English playwrights? Do we have any prominent English playwright? There were very few. There are very few. You can count it on the tip of your fingers. There are very few English playwrights, you will find out. Because most of the drama shifted to America. American playwrights, or European playwrights, or African playwrights, or Indian playwrights, they appear very prominently on the screen. And that's why there is a very meager number of English playwrights today. When we talk about contemporary drama, we will discuss about that thing also. But it was a big figure. During 19th century, English playwrights alone produced 30,000 dramas. What kind of these plays and why this much drama was produced? The drama, most of the plays, most of the drama written during that time, or performed during that time, most of the drama performed at that time were sentimental, melodramatic, and it was dominated by some powerful actors. Drama was known by the name of the actors during that period. It was overwhelmed. The works and the audiences, they were quite different from those of 17th and 18th century audiences. Why? There is one big reason, and this big one reason is rise of middle class. Earlier, there was no middle class, aristocratic or noble class, and poor peasant worker class. There was no middle class available. Now, why this middle class arose, or you may have a doubt, sir, how all of a sudden a middle class can come in 19th century? Yes, it was simply because of industrial revolution. Industrial revolution brought romantic poetry into the world. Industrialization has changed the whole living standards of human beings. Industrialization had given a lot of new visionary ideas to human civilization. And because of industrialization, the money started to flow into the hands of people. And instead of remaining poor, this poor has elevated little bit up to a middle class. So this was the rise of middle class due to industrialization. You can read, you can discuss a lot of things what happened due to industrialization in literature. Now this middle class, and especially this middle class, is not in rural part of the country, it was in urban part, and you'll find out middle classes nowadays also are part of urban society. Middle classes are not in rural part of India, even if you compare it with the rest of the world. In India also, because we are the biggest middle class available. We have a biggest middle class available here in India. So we cannot say that we don't have all those things available. The biggest middle class was available in India, and that's why it is most difficult for the policymakers to finalize what kind of policy they can run. That they, out of the context, I'm getting out of this track, and I'll tell you one book, if possible, for you to read, if you get a time. There is a very, very interesting book written by Pawan Verma, and the title of the book is The Great Indian Middle Class. And if you read that book, you'll find out how much this middle class influenced the whole system in India. And that's why we have so much of mobile companies coming, so much of malls coming, so much of online business is coming, so much of policies have been decided for middle class, because middle class is the only class which can spend money, which can earn money, which can spend money. This rise of middle class in the 19th century, this middle class, because the moneyed factory and mill owners who benefited economically from the industrial revolution, they brought change in the whole financial world. With industrial revolution, money is flowing with people. There were earlier, money was restricted with aristocrat and noble families and rich people. This money was flowing up to middle class because of this moneyed factories. People working in factory are producing the work, and then it is giving. And that's why you'll find out Marx was also product of that particular period. Money, the flow of money, the people are getting money, and when people are getting money out of their work, what would be their requirement? Their requirement is simply their stomach is full with whatever they want. The stomach is full. Now they want entertainment. Now, earlier, drama was not meant for entertainment. If you look at it at classical periods, the Greek and Roman, because your need was fulfilled, then you will turn for other kinds of, you can say, requirements of your life. This is what happened with us also, if you compare it with our condition today. Most of us belong to middle class. Once your need is fulfilled, you know your flow of money is regular, so you will not worry about rest of the things. You want then what you want, most of the television shows to happen on television, and you'll watch that and you will get entertainment. Look at OTT platforms coming on your mobile phones, updated mobile phones, smartphones. This is what money, when money flow into the market, and nobody can say, and that's what a very common misunderstanding amongst most of the students, that what a student of literature need to do except reading poetry, prose, and drama. What they do? No, we think about how commerce affect our life, how finance affect our life. This commerce, absolutely trade and commerce. This trade and commerce affect the life, and this trade and commerce gave ample amount of money into the hands of people, and these people are expecting now a mere entertainment. So in 19th century, drama became a source of entertainment, and that's why so much number of drama was written. 30,000 plays were written during 19th century because of the audiences available. Now the audiences, what was the condition of the audiences? Please remember one thing: drama is the only genre. Drama is the only genre in literature which changes according to the need. What audience want, drama would change accordingly. Writing will change accordingly. Look out the drama. Why not the drama remain the same as it was written first in Greece? Why chorus and mask were not part of Roman drama? Why Roman drama changed? What Elizabethan drama changed? What Shakespeare wrote changed? When Shakespeare was a big, great legend dramatist available with English people, why most of the dramatists changed their writing? Why they did not follow the same path that Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe and Ben Jonson followed? This was, and that's why we have to, and that's why we are discussing the development of drama in different ages. And this is the only genre which changes according to the time. It will not remain the same. Probably poetry will remain the same, or maybe fiction will remain the same. But drama would not remain the same. It will change as per the need of the time, as per the requirement of the society, because society is interested. Now, look at the 19th century audience, because it was a demand from audience that they want an entertainment. So they don't want to have a sort of moral teaching or lecture or advice. No, they want mere entertainment. Now, most of the audiences were uneducated. Why uneducated? They were workers. They used to work in the factory in different shifts. When they will come back from the shift, they would sit and watch the play. This is what the beginning of professional theatre in India also. This is what the beginning for cinema in India also. Why Dadasaheb Phalke made first movie? Because he realized that people were able to pay and watch that thing. This was the beginning of all those things. So audiences were generally not well educated. And they were, because they were not educated, they were not interested in simply having a play that discussed certain intellectual things. No. They were not interested in intellectual activity. They mere want entertainment. Look at what is, if I compare this situation with today's situation that we are facing in our families, in our houses. Although most of the members of our family, they are well educated, but still, because they don't have any kind of work to do, they want an entertainment from television, and that's what television is producing. Whatever kinds of serial you are looking at, so many serials, you can name ample of serials, daily soaps coming on television. Because the television soaps, they are not giving any intellectual, you can say, ideas, or intellectually they are not posing any queries and questions in front of the audience. It was simply mere entertainment, like Kapil Sharma show. Nothing is there. No intellectual or philosophical things that you are getting out of it. The same thing happened in 19th century also. So they were not demanding any intellectual things from the drama. They want mere entertainment. And if somebody is trying to give, instead what they wanted escapist and sentimental entertainment. Escapist entertainment. If it poses the question how to run away from that, how to escape from a particular situation. Or mere sentimental, little bit of cry, little bit of sadness. Oh yes, this Bahu really, and this was the serial of Saas Bahu, and that makes you a little bit cry. That was sentimental entertainment. These kinds of writings, these kinds of drama, because they were easy to respond. These kind of writings did not challenge any basic values. It is not challenging any basic values of human life, or not challenging any basic values of human society. And that's why it was appreciated very much. People liked very much these kind of writings. Even during 19th century, you will find a revival of old plays and adaptation of Shakespeare. They adapted Shakespeare in their own way. And it was very common in that particular age. And that's why you'll find out most of the performances that are available to us now, which you watch on YouTube, when you watch any film on it, you will find that most of the things that appears to us, that comes in front of us, they are simply in the form of films, or in the forms of the presentation that is available to us. So we find that what kind of productions that particular period gave to the audience. It was nothing but a revival of all these old plays. And when it was a revival of all these old plays, you will find out this revival, as I said, you great actors were very much in demand. And I said that the writers overwhelmed the actors, the stars overwhelmed the writings. As you will find out today, the films were run because of the actor. What is the Salman Khan movie? What is the story carries? It doesn't bother. Nobody worries about that. Because there's a star, okay, we will watch it. The same condition, the stars, and there were very famous stars of that time. Edmund Kean, or Sir Henry Irving, or Edwin Forrest, or Edwin Booth, or William Macready. These were the stars of that period of 19th century. They were using the plays at platforms for overwhelming and sometimes overbearing performances. And thrillers were popular at that time. Historical plays, melodramatic plays featuring helpless heroine. She is in trouble and somebody is coming to rescue her, and he is rescuing, and that heroine is getting what she wants. A type of lame and a type of poor, weak women character. People used to like all those things. Right? This was the condition on one hand. There was an antidote to such kind of diet, you can say. And a new movement started in literature. This will also help you in understanding fiction. When you read fiction, when you study the paper of fiction, you'll find out how realism entered into it. On one hand, these kind of plays were written. So an antidote to this, and a new realist movement in literature, exemplified by the achievements of certain very well-known French novelists. French novelists brought a new change into literature. The very prominent names in this, Émile Zola and Gustave Flaubert. These were the two prominent French novelists who brought realism, a realistic movement in literature. And this realistic movement, which they started in fiction, it reached to drama in 1870 And in 1870s and 80s, the period, 1870s and 80s, this was the period when realistic movement started from novel, reached to drama. And two prominent playwrights, two prominent dramatists who brought a big change in the world of drama. They are not from English, they are Scandinavian. Scandinavia was a place, Scandinavian, or you can say Norwegian. Norwegian playwrights, August Strindberg and Henrik Ibsen. These were the two prominent playwrights who changed the whole Western drama, or I can say the whole drama of the world. August Strindberg and Henrik Ibsen. These two Scandinavian playwrights revolutionized the Western drama and forced their audience, they forced the audience. Audience were not ready to accept any intellectual thing. But these two dramatists forced the audience to confront more important issues and deeper psychological concerns. These dramatists forced all these audiences. Audiences were not ready to go, but these two dramatists, and that's why they revolutionized the whole Western drama. Take, for example, August Strindberg's very famous play, Miss Julie. August Strindberg, in his play Miss Julie, which is a psychological study which challenged social complacency based on class and social differences. Miss Julie challenged the social complacencies which are based on social and class differences. It was a psychological study, the play. It was intellectual play. Or look at Henrik Ibsen's very famous play, Doll's House. Doll's House was actually a blow for feminism. It did not amuse all the audiences. Please remember one thing. I can say, even when you study Doll's House, when you read Doll's House, you will find out Doll's House is the only play where you will find out that it was not accepted by the audience of the time. And that's why Henrik Ibsen has to change the end of the play. But he realized that this change does not fulfill what he wants to show to the audience. So he retained the earlier version of his play. Doll's House was not accepted by the society. If you read, this is one of the best play that I request all the students to read whenever they will get time. Henrik Ibsen's Doll's House. Some audiences were horrified after looking at that play, because the heroine of the play, Nora, and even I used to say to my students when I discuss Doll's House with them, I used to tell them that Nora was probably the only heroine in literature up to 19th century. Okay, later on, most of the writers later on copied Nora, but Nora was the first or pioneering heroine of literature to challenge patriarchy. He left her house and gets out of her house in search of her own identity. She leaves the house of her husband. And leaving the house of her husband by a woman is a most horrifying thing. People felt it horrified that how can a woman leave her husband and family behind? It was what was considered in patriarchy. Patriarchy always considered that it was a prime duty of a woman to look after her family only. She is restricted to look within the four walls. She cannot get out of the four walls. If she get out of the four walls, it was a very difficult thing for that family. You are the girls of 21st century. But I'm talking of 19th century when women were not allowed to get out of the house. Look at what was the condition. Henrik Ibsen with his play Doll's House, Nora was almost bringing a new or awakening the European conscience. The intellectual writers, intellectual society, intellectual class positively responded to Henrik Ibsen's call. This was a Henrik Ibsen's call. They replied to Henrik Ibsen. Even who replied? Bernard Shaw also replied to Henrik Ibsen. And he started to write a play based on challenging the new consciences. And began a move that transferred the whole understanding of drama. Drama, which was part of entertainment, now drama was challenging the social norms. Drama questioning the people. Drama was asking and creating doubts and queries and making people to understand that what kind of thing that we are living in. We can talk a lot about this. Feminism is also one of the themes of these writers. They're dealing with feminism indirectly, not directly coming in front of the audience. Ibsen's another very famous play, Hedda Gabler. Hedda Gabler was a play based on the story of a woman whose frustration at being cast in an inferior role. She used to perform constantly inferior role in plays, and that's why she gets frustrated. And her frustration leads to her self-destruction. This was the condition of middle class. And that's why most of the suicides used to take place in middle class only. Self-destruction. Psychological issues. Both the plays written by Ibsen, Doll's House or Hedda Gabler, both plays are acted in physical setting that seems to be very ordinary. As 19th century, you'll find out in 19th century sitting room is the most important place. Living space, that is what we call it in architecture, living space. Living hall, you can say. And this realism has given a way to dramatists to mention each and every minute setting detail. Everything in detail explained by the playwright. That there was a chair on the left, table on the right, window at the back, door into first row, second wing, there is a door. On the back of the stage, they give each and every minute details. If you read Henrik Ibsen's play Doll's House, or you read any play written by George Bernard Shaw, you will find out all these things. And all the characters are small. They are not larger than life. In Shakespearean play, the characters are larger because in tragedy, you need to have a noble person. Tragedy is always of a noble person. And comedy is of always a person of a lower class. But here in realistic drama, in realistic plays, everything seems to be replica of the real things of life. That's why the characters are small. They are not noblemen, they are not poor person, but they are middle class people. Working regularly, getting their monthly income and surviving with that monthly income in their routine life. This is a very drastic change drama brought. Now look at, although English people wrote 30,000 dramas in 19th century, but what kind of drama? Entertaining drama, melodramatic drama. Merely sentimental emotions they are presenting through their drama. But a kind of drama that changed the whole understanding and revolutionizing European society, produced by people other than English. Not English people produced all, other than English people produced this kind of drama. So Henrik Ibsen was Norwegian. Another very important dramatist from Europe was Anton Chekhov, who is from Russia. Anton Chekhov's three plays, Three Sisters, Uncle Vanya, and The Cherry Orchard. If you see very carefully, I think if it is possible for you, I'll tell you so many names. I don't know whether you read it or whether you note it down. I don't know about it. Why number is reducing? From 10, it becomes 5 participants only. Okay. Please know, whenever I tell you the names of the books, please note it down. Later on, whenever you get a time, you search it and you read it. Cherry Orchard influenced, or Anton Chekhov influenced Mahesh Elkunchwar in Marathi. A very famous dramatist of Marathi, Mahesh Elkunchwar. And his very famous play, Vada Chirebandi. This Vada Chirebandi was influenced by Anton Chekhov's Cherry Orchard. Because Anton Chekhov was the writer at the turn of 20th century. He was also realistic. But his characters are facing, or you can find out in his plays, there are patient examination of characters. The examination was not harsh. Patient examination of characters. They are facing primary problems. And you'll find out the primary problems in Henrik Ibsen's play. Anton Chekhov's play, Ghost and the Master Builder. Why Chekhov was writing about plays based on very common and very routine problems of people? Because at that time Russia was changing. Russia was under Tsar and Lenin and all the communist ideology. It was coming on a large. And that's why there was a change, a revolution that was taking place in Russia. And that's why the repressed class of peasants evolving into landowners and merchants, they were overpowering them, and that kind of feeling you will find out in Cherry Orchard, that they were overpowering the sense of inevitability. Or Chekhov depicts the conflict between the necessity of change and nostalgia of past. This was a very common feeling of every human being. You find out commonly people used to say, "Amcha kalat aso hoto." You find out these words in our family also. Listen to your father, sometimes he talks. "Amcha kalat aso hoto, amcha kalat." They used to tell, because it was a nostalgia. Changes, there is always conflict between changes in present and nostalgia of past. And that's why we used to say there is a communication gap, generation gap. Nostalgia of past, and there is always a conflict in every society in between nostalgia of past and the changes that you find it out in routine society. Changes in necessity, well, there is a necessity for change. Changes are not happening simply because they want changes. No, there is a need of the time. Necessity of change and nostalgia of past. There was a conflict, and you find out this conflict was very successfully dealt by Anton Chekhov in his plays. There were comedies also. Oscar Wilde, with his very famous comedy Lady Windermere's Fan and Importance of Being Earnest, is trying to make a fun or poking over upper class mentality, making a fun of upper class mentality. If you read very famous play, Importance of Being Earnest, even the film was available on YouTube, Importance of Being Earnest, if you look at it. He used to, the comedies of that particular time, comedies of that particular period, they used to poke, they used to fun on the livings of upper class society. These plays, although they are amusing, they are satirical, they are making comment, or they are criticizing the society. There's a sense of social criticism in their writings. Social criticism is one of the most interesting part of comedies written during the beginning of 20th century. Now these plays written in 20th century, 19th, end of 19th century and beginning of 20th century. Who were the prominent playwrights? Prominent playwrights were Anton Chekhov, August Strindberg, Henrik Ibsen, George Bernard Shaw. Please remember these four names. And who brought realism in literature, the movement of realism? Two French novelists, Émile Zola and Gustave Flaubert. These were the, please remember these six names. Why I'm saying so? Because when you are preparing for your set or net examination at that time, who were the prominent playwright, or who were the prominent writers of particular century, you need to remember that. Not all the writers need to be remembered. You need to remember certain prominent writers who changed all those things, who brought change in literature. Now these plays written by these playwrights, the names which I have taken: August Strindberg, Henrik Ibsen, George Bernard Shaw, Anton Chekhov, Oscar Wilde. You will find out, my friends, that these playwrights introduced, it was a very prominent period, and these playwrights introduced modern realism in drama, which was earlier not possible in any kind of writings. This modern realism that was rare in early drama. Melodrama of 19th century was especially satisfying to mass audiences. It was satisfying to mass, it was satisfying to audiences. Sentimental comedy, sentimental emotions, melodramas. Because good characters were good and bad characters were bad. Justice were meted out at the end, and that's why they were very much happy. All gundas are punished, all bad people are punished, and that's why they are happy. These kinds of writing used to take place at the end of 19th century. And in 19th century, such kind of drama become very popular. But it is difficult in Chekhov, it is difficult in Henrik Ibsen to be sure that who are heroes and who are villains. You cannot find any specific definition of this is a hero and this is a villain. You don't have any specific definition of it. You don't find any specific heroes and villains in Anton Chekhov and Henrik Ibsen. You have to put your head together and try to find out whether there are villains. No. To whom you will call as a villain? A big question. And you find out nothing is clear cut in these kinds of drama. The drama was always having an open end. What is open end? You have to define. As an audience, you have to decide what is good and what is bad. This is what the condition is. We stop at this condition. Now you find it out what is correct or what is wrong. That is your perception. It may vary from audience to audience. It was not imposed by the playwright that, okay, this is what I am saying is the end. No. Nora will leave her house, she will cross the threshold and she'll come out of her house. Now what will happen to Nora is not at all a concern of the playwright. The playwright will not discuss about what will happen to Nora once she crosses her threshold, whether she will be accepted by the society or not. It is not the concern of the playwright. The playwright is not interested in realizing, in talking about all those things. He put this, that she crosses the threshold and she poses a question in front of the society that whether woman is having any chance to search her own identity or not. Now that is what every audience need to decide. If he's a feminist, if he's accepting, he said yes, Nora is correct. If he is not, he'll say Nora is wrong. So there is no final outcome in these modern dramas. Please find it out, my friends. And this was a big change. And this is a big change, that there is no proper or no particular or no fixed decision is given by the playwright. It is with the audience that they have to decide. It is with the audience that they have to finalize that what would be the change, what would be the end of this particular play. Whether you accept it or not, that depends on you. Playwright will not say it is right or wrong. And that's why Chekhov's play or Ibsen's play are complicated as life itself, you can say. It was not so easy to understand this place. They will shake you. They'll make you to realize and understand the fact that, look, this is what the condition of yours is. Such difficulties of distinction, such difficulties developed by these playwrights gave a new way, gave a new path to drama in 20th century and contemporary drama, because it was most important that contemporary drama, the drama which we study today, or the drama which we watch today, the drama which we read today in 21st century, or the drama written in 20th century, based on the way given by these playwrights. Who? August Strindberg, Henrik Ibsen, George Bernard Shaw, Anton Chekhov, Oscar Wilde. The way that these playwrights show the contemporary drama, a 20th century drama, deals with these kinds of themes in future. This discusses with these kinds of things in future. So this is the very crucial period in the development of drama. It is a very crucial period, because if you see, this period has changed the whole perception of understanding of drama, changing the whole perception of drama handed over to the audience, that audience should understand what they want to get meaning out of it, what kind of meaning they want to get out of it. It was in the hands of the audience. The playwright will not give you a proper end to it. He'll show this was the end. Now you decide whether this end is right or wrong. It is not the playwright to decide. Whether you read The Cherry Orchard, whether you read Doll's House, or whether you read George Bernard Shaw's any play, Candida, Mrs. Warren's Profession, Doctor's Dilemma, read any kind of play, you will find out this realistic play changed the whole understanding of drama. Similarly, the realistic movement changed the whole perception of literature across the world. It influenced all kinds of writing, and 20th century drama and contemporary drama, both the dramas followed the way of realism. What are the changes? We find it out. What kind of differences? We find it out. We will talk about all those differences and all those changes in tomorrow's lecture. Okay?